equally delete all and insert any, so that it becomes a continuous process. That, because you see, what I wanted to point out to minority leader at that time was that Section 14 deals with alienation of public land, but historical justices are under Section 15. So when you read it, you can clearly see there was very serious mischief that was created. So at the appropriate time, I'll be moving an amendment so that we delete the word all grants and dispositions and put any. Secondly, let me point out that because if we don't do that, what this particular limitation of 5 years meant was that after 5 years, after 2015, you could not review any grant or disposition. They were shielding whoever will be dealing with alienation or disposition of public land after that 5-year period. Secondly, if you go to Section 5, where they say the Commission finds that the title was acquired in unlawful manner, the Commission shall direct the registrar to revoke the title. That is a correct procedure, because unlawful allocation is where public land that was not available for alienation has been given out, and that has been very common. But what is unlawful is not defined. Yeah, and again, I think we will need to create some definition for that. Because when you go down to subsection 6, irregularly acquired is defined, but certain elements are missing, which are critical to what this particular act needs to address. Irregularly acquired is where the land is available for allocation, but the correct procedure was never followed. And again, in that case, the drafters were very clever. They are saying where there is irregular allocation, they will not recommend revocation, but they will recommend rectification. You'll be given a chance to remedy the wrong. What they are not saying is that where the irregularity was tainted with fraud, where it was deliberately fraudulent, yes, you will become a beneficiary of your fraud. So again, we need to look at the definition, because irregular allocation is defined in the Act. We need to look at that and distinguish it where there's honest mistake or honest irregularity from where there's deliberate fraud. In which case, if that is established, then revocation should follow, because you cannot benefit from illegal activity. If you go down to subsection 7, no revocation of the title shall be effected against a bona fide purchaser for value without notice of defect in the title. The lawyers in the House will tell you that there's a principle in law known in Latin as nemo dat quod non habet. You cannot give that which does not belong to you. You cannot pass a better title than the one you have. So if it is established your title was fraudulent, then the third party purchaser equally cannot get a better title. But there are exceptions, and this is one of them. And it is a good exception, where an innocent purchaser has bought a property without having defect in the title. But what they don't tell you, again, is that the original beneficiary, the person who committed the fraud, yeah, if not compelled to undertake restitution, then he becomes a beneficiary of his own fraud. In other words, there will be cases of unjust enrichment and where people will benefit from illegal activities. So again, we will be proposing an amendment that in case of irregular allocation or unlawful allocation, the person who committed the fraud will be required to make restitution either to the state or to the person who paid them. Because where there's a revocation, they should make restitution to the person who paid them. Where there is just restitution, they should be required to pay the value of the property or whatever they received, whichever is higher. And I would like to, again, just to go further to now historical injustices. That is section 17, subsection 3D, the one that my minority leader was very passionate about. Again, they imposed a 5-year limit here for historical injustices. And to handle a matter of historical injustice, I mean, if you want to look for historical documents and to show you are displaced, your community lived there, it takes time. Some of these documents are not even within the Republic of Kenya. They're in the archives in England. So it was again a mischief. I think I support the deletion of this particular clause so that issues of historical injustice, issues of review of grants or dispositions of public land are continuous and permanent power vested in the National Land Commission. But I want to point out, as we undertake all these things, we need to be very careful because there's very serious potential to disrupt the good commercial order of society when you deal with issues of land. You can see the case of Zimbabwe, where a food basket has become a basket case by, again, issues of land. And there are also very serious complications. When you're dealing with historical issues in Africa, you need to remember, like in the case of Kenya, the first formal registration of land was in 1905. And this particular law talks of 1895. So where do you start? And where do you get the materials? Yeah, and the communal land ownership in Kenya was very fluid. There were no common boundaries. We used to have what was called usufructuary rights. You used land, then you moved on when you got tired of it. And to make matters even worse, the coastal strip had a different legal system. We had the Sultan of Oman exercising domain at the coast and establishing land. That's why we have Mazrui Land Act and all those other issues. So I would ask that as we support, we have an open mind and we make those amendments as I've suggested. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Well, Honorable Millie Odhiambo, are you on a point of order? Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I just want to rise on standing order number 1. I don't have my standing orders, but this is something that can be within your discretion. That, Madam Speaker, we are proceeding in this House like everything is normal, and we are hearing rumors of an air crash involving the CDF, Francis Ogola, and 5 others. Madam Speaker, that is something of national interest and serious national concern. Our majority leader is here. I think it would be good if he can allay our fears, or if it is true, so that we can deal with this. And I think it would be appropriate for us as a House not to proceed with the Land Commission bill when we're having such a serious national or issue of national interest. Can he confirm whether the issue of the crash is true or whether it's merely a rumor? This is a very serious issue, Madam Speaker. Can we please be updated? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I hear what the Honorable Millie says. All that I can confirm, Honorable Speaker, is that it's indeed true that there has been a crash of a KDF helicopter, which you have seen in the news, and being responsible leaders also, we do not want to speculate as to the cause of the crash. We are all awaiting news. It is being reported in the news that a number of people have lost their lives, and there are few who have survived. I think it's only fair that we leave it to the defense forces and the military to be able, because they're already on the ground, to confirm how many people have lost their lives, how many have survived, and once they identify the identity of those who are there, to maybe first communicate to their kin before the news is broken in any other manner. I think that's the most responsible thing to do. And let me take this opportunity to just convey my condolences to the families of those who may have lost loved ones in that crash, and say it is unfortunate that had to happen, I'm told, somewhere in Elgeyo Marakwet. And I would beg, Honorable Speaker, that we leave it at that so that we do not get into speculation, since we do not know which officers were in that flight. We do not know who has survived, who has passed on, so that we allow the relevant authorities to do what they need to do. First, communicate to the families of the ones who may have lost their lives, and the country will be updated by the relevant authorities at the right time, Honorable Speaker. I would really beg that we leave that matter at that for now.
Honorable members, I see 2 interventions, but I will suggest that I will not entertain the points of order. I suggest, honorable members, that we proceed as per what has been stated by the majority leader, taking into account the sensitivity of the matter that has been raised by the Honorable Millie Odhiambo. Honorable members, I would like to state that we proceed as per the direction which has been given by the majority leader. Honorable members, I'm avoiding us getting into discussion on a matter in this House that is not very clear to us. So, members, I would like to request. Honorable members, I'll give an opportunity to the Honorable Peter Kihungi, member for Kangema. Are you in the House?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I start to support the bill by Honorable Bayer. Madam Speaker, I think one thing I can say is that the limitation that was put on the Act, on the last commission, on the timeline on when the historical injustices or cases to do with lands can be handled, Madam Speaker, could have affected a lot of some of the things that are very important and some of the land injustices that needed to be sorted. Madam Speaker, as per now, most of the lands, mostly at the counties, has been grabbed. And those who designed the land allocation during the land demarcation, mostly like you observe in the county government or the former local authorities, there were set aside the cemetery, whereby the people can have land maybe to bury those who are homeless, and mostly the provision or the planners who did the planning during that time had foreseen a situation whereby we can no longer continue to bury our people in our land. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I wish to start and say that those lands, mostly the cemetery at the counties, most of them, Madam Speaker, have already been grabbed. I had an instance in my constituency whereby a homeless person or a person who doesn't have land died, and we found that most of those cemeteries has been grabbed and occupied. Madam Speaker, we wish to support the bill whereby anybody who has government land or have grabbed a land, he must understand that that land remains to be a government land, however long it takes.
Sorry to disturb you, Mheshimiwa. I would like to give an opportunity for a point of order by the minority leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First and foremost, I'm raising on two issues. One, given the anxiety that has engulfed the nation following that helicopter incident, I don't think it will be proper for the House to continue its business as usual without clarity being provided on the nature of that particular helicopter incident and the casualties, if any. So it would be proper, indeed, as a way of honoring those who have been affected, one or the other, by that incident, for the House to adjourn, really, to adjourn and resume maybe later, maybe next week. Yes. But more seriously, the House has got a quorum. More seriously. All other ones are basically, but more seriously, there's no quorum. So I think we just have to adjourn and, yes, thank you.
How are you?
Yeah, so he was on a point of order, and he has raised the matter of quorum. So we just follow the procedure for quorum. So I order that the bell is rung for 10